Okay, this session is going to be a little different because I'm going to use some pictures, and I need to in order to really explain how to use the Strong's Concordance. And I have briefly mentioned about using the Strong's Concordance and gathering references for a particular topic, but in this session I want to go over in detail the use of this very valuable tool. Though this session will be shorter than previous sessions, I did not want to gloss over it, but to give it the special attention I believe it deserves. So let's begin by looking at the word salvation. Now, software will vary from program to program. So what I'm going to do in this presentation, I'm going to use the Blue Letter Bible website because I found that eSword changed a lot from the last time that I've used it, and it seemed it was a little easier to teach from the Blue Letter Bible. First of all, go to the website. Here's a snapshot of what you should see. Then where you see search the Bible, what I want you to do is put in Acts chapter 4 verse 12. Then click on the green search icon. Once you've done that, scroll down until you get to Acts 4:12. Once you've done that, I want you to click on Tools, which is to the left of the verse. Now, this will bring up a new pop-up window. At the top, you will see a series of tabs from left to right. I want you to scroll down in that particular window until you see the English word salvation. Once you see that, go slightly to the right and click on the number G4991. This will take you to a new window. Once you've done that, I want to show you what all these different sections mean and how they can be useful to you. Okay, so the first thing you see is this, the Greek Strong's number. The Strong's number of a Greek word used that was translated into English as salvation. If there is a G before the number, then it is Greek and pertains to the New Testament. If there is an H before the number, then it is a Hebrew word and pertains to the Old Testament. Though there are some passages that are also written in Aramaic, all Strong's numbers will either be G for Greek and H for Hebrew. So that is the number, and now notice next what we see. We actually see the original word in its original language, Greek. And folks, it's all Greek to me. But from here, after we see that, we see what they call a transliteration. Basically what that means, they take the original Greek word and then they translate it into our English alphabet. Still doesn't probably make much sense yet, but that's okay. But that's what they do. Once that is done, they also have a guide for pronouncing the word, and you can see it on the screen when I put up for you. Then after that, then it gives the part of speech. From there we get the root of the word, any particular history, as well as the type of word. Then there's some cross references, and the one I want you just to think about right now, and you're probably wondering what is it, is TDNT. And when you see that, you say, what in the world is that? Well, if you see this, and some Bible software you will see it, some you won't. You scroll down a bit, and basically what that does is it traces a New Testament word back to its Hebrew origins. You do need the TDNT to use it though. Now, to those of you who are wondering, well, what the heck does that, what is that? Well, it's just an abbreviation of a huge book, otherwise known as the Theological Dictionary of New Testament Words. It's pretty expensive, so I didn't bother buying it. If you got the money, go for it. But certain software may have it, but most of the time they'll just give a listing without the actual definition. They'll just give you the listing of where to find it in the dictionary, but not the actual definition. Of course, some also might reference vines, which I don't really pay much attention to, but some do. I prefer to stick with the Strong's definition. But finally, when you scroll down a little bit more, you get the actual definition of the word, as you can see there. Then once that, and that's important because you're going to find that certain words mean a little different than what you thought. A good example, I remember when I was in Timothy, we talked about elders and how they should have double honor. And I looked it up and I was surprised. I thought just honor meant, esteem and stuff like that, but it means actually to pay money to. So that kind of made me think a little differently. Then after, I call it like the smiley face or frown face, whichever you want to call it. After that definition of the word, when you see that, all the words after that are all the English words that were translated from that Greek word. And there's different words because there are different contexts depending on what part of the Bible you're reading from. In this example, salvation, we see sometimes that Greek word, we saw the definition earlier, but it's been translated delivery, health, salvation, save, and saving. And some will include a KJC, and that simply is a King James concordance. And what it will do is it will list all those particular words and how many times not only are they listed, but in some concordances it will actually list the verses right next to it. When someone says that this word is used over 1,000 times in the Bible, whatever that word may be, they didn't really count it each time, but used the Strong's Concordance to find out. Finding out the literal definition of a word can open up a lot on a study. For example, in the Old Testament, we find that the children of Israel were to tithe of the increase of the land. There's a lot of debate on tithing, but the literal definition of the word increase, you ready for this, means income. So if you're anti-tithe scripture, you might want to check this out when you think that the tithe had nothing to do with income. However, here's another example concerning woman. Normally, there's a particular Greek word that has been translated servant, and that's speaking of a woman that was a beloved servant. Yet everywhere else that particular Greek word was used, it was referring to men, it was called deacons. Now I go, wait a minute. Why is it only when it's a woman that's been called that do you translate it a servant, but if it's a man, you translate it a deacon? Maybe it's a possibility people's theology got in the way of the actual definition. Here's another example. The word hell, by the way, is a place of departed spirits according to the definition. And if you go by that definition, well, that proves immortality of the soul because it's right in the definition. That's why when it comes to Jehovah's Witnesses who argue the torture stake over the cross, what you do is you look up not the word cross, you look up the word crucified. And the definition itself is a cross. It's not a stake. That's what can really clear up some things, even in debates like that. Finally, even those of an alternate lifestyle that claim that, well, no one really knows sexually what the Apostle Paul was condemning concerning alternate lifestyle. But the problem is the definition, which states a man in bed with another man where sperm is involved. It really seems to clear it up. You can call it whatever you want, but that's the definition. It's still saying no matter what you call it, it's still wrong, the alternate lifestyle, and that God forbids it. So, no matter what a translation calls it, that's what man translated into English what they felt. The definition itself is pretty damaging. So this tool has some really great value. And what's good about it is you can trace the Greek words and look and see how they were used throughout the scriptures and not just limit yourself on one verse and like a pigeonhole theology. You want to have all the references you can, and the Strong's Concordance is a great tool to help you on any particular topic.